All right, all right. How's everybody doing? Welcome to another episode of the Maniac Mindset Podcast. I am your host, Had Enough. So tonight we're currently live streaming on both Facebook and YouTube. I tried to live stream on TikTok as well, but I have to await approval. They've got some weird shit going on with that. I guess they want to make sure I am the actual account holder, and it's just I don't know, man. It's even more annoying. I thought Instagram was annoying to live stream on. If I'm being honest, I thought it was. TikTok's worse. They want to. I don't know. I get why they do it. I get there's like this a security thing or something like that. They want to make sure everything's legit and all that kind of stuff. But still, TikTok, y'all doing too much. All right, so we'll get this out of the way, man. I did have my friend ATM as a guest. Unfortunately, his connection issues, and we tried troubleshooting for at least a good 20 minutes. That's why the live stream started kind of late. We'll try again next time. We'll try and I don't know. Maybe I'm not real sure what happened there, but we did everything we could to try and make it happen. But I will get him back on the podcast ASAP. So with that being said, I'm for the first time on this podcast, I'm solo. So I don't know. I wouldn't mind bringing somebody on. So anyone in the chat, if you have interesting topics or something, don't be boring or nothing is all I ask. So, but yeah, so I might bring a few people from the chat. I'll send you the link, and you can drop in and we'll get a topic going. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to get on. Excuse me. I'm going to get on TikTok, and so I'm going to react to some latest in the music news. There's a few videos let's see. I know one I didn't get a chance to really watch it earlier. It was very interesting about. Let's see. Let me try and find it. Oh, here we go. Okay. Give me a second. Let me share the screen. Let's see. Not that one there. Okay, share screen. All right. There we go. All right, so Kato. If you guys know Kato on the track. So he did this video. I didn't get a chance to really watch the whole video. So I'm for the most part going to be reacting in real time.
You guys want to know something crazy?
Not that one.
I got over 4,400.
Okay, this one. So it's called How Steve Jobs Tried to Stop Spotify. All right. Okay, hang on. Sorry, guys. Try to get this. I'm getting used to this whole screen sharing ordeal. So, all right.
So if y'all remember, we got to talk about how Spotify almost never made it to America because this man, Steve Jobs, tried to stop it. So if y'all remember back in 2008,
Okay, so Spotify was originally from Sweden. I did not know that. I do know Steve Jobs had a big part in, obviously, we all know him from Apple and started iTunes. So anyway, let's dive into this.
he had this thing called iTunes. iTunes was created by Apple and Steve Jobs, and the whole concept was that you would pay for music per download. And the reason why this concept was so popular with record labels is because we had just come off of the lowest recorded revenue in the music industry due to illegal downloading, piracy, and Napster. And honestly, it was kind of dope. I remember buying my first iPod, taking that thing everywhere with me to school and on the bus, and there was just this excitement around music again. Because here's the thing, Steve Jobs just convinced the entire music industry that people should pay for music again. 99 cents per song, and you get to own the music, kind of like how you did when you would go to Tower Records and buy a CD. And the record labels loved it because they were making money off of music again. And then here comes this little Swedish startup called Spotify That just turned that whole concept on its head. Spotify said no ownership, no downloads. We want to give consumers access to all the music in the world for one simple subscription. And the record labels were terrified because they thought that it would destroy all the value that they had just rebuilt with Steve Jobs and iTunes. And when Spotify finally tried to expand in the US, there are multiple industry accounts that Steve Jobs tried to slow down the negotiations with Spotify because he knew that it would kill downloads. And Jobs wasn't wrong. Spotify started convincing the record labels that they can turn music piracy back into paying customers through subscriptions. So, with Jobs backed into a corner, he had no choice but to launch a competitor to Spotify, Apple Music. And in 2011, Spotify officially launched in the United States, and within a few years, downloads pretty much collapsed. Streaming had now become the way that everyone wanted to listen to music. So here's a lesson. Every time music changes, someone tries to stop it. Just in my lifetime, I've seen things go from purchasing cassettes, vinyl, CDs, to the whole piracy and Napster era, to iTunes and Apple, to streaming and Spotify, and now Apple Music. And I think we're about to enter a next stage. I think the shift is happening right now, going back to direct to consumer and direct to fan. So the question isn't whether or not the change is going to happen, it's already here. The only question you should ask yourself is, are you going to adapt or get left behind?
All right, that's real interesting. So, yeah, a real here's my thought on it. So, Steve Jobs originally fought against it because he brought back, because we can all recall the piracy, LimeWire and stuff like that. So, and then by starting iTunes, he made it cool for people to buy music again. And I know he was talking about, yeah, I remember that. I remember having the iPod that was pretty much the size of our phones. And yeah, you'd buy all this music and you owned it. You had this collection. And then Spotify came around and said, "Hey, we can make music free again, just for a certain subscription." So, and then he adapted to that. So he went to Apple Music, which I honestly believe Steve Jobs could have, as innovative as he was, that he could have came up with a way to compete with Spotify, to still make purchasing music still, the thing to do. It's hard to say. It's really hard to say, because it's just like you can't, the Spotify model is almost hard to compete with as far as the music consumer, because now you have access to all the music in the universe that's available on the internet, and go from there. That's wild. Just yeah, it's hard to yeah, so, and that's the unfortunate part, is like, seems what's good for the consumer kind of sucks for the artist, when really the concept of the music business works for both. Like, the artist, you know, performs their music, markets their music, it attracts the right fan base. The fan base wants more. Not only do they want, you know, do they enjoy the music, but they want to purchase the merchandise. And if they know, hey, what, I mean, I get these questions a lot, and I'm sure a lot of indie artists that say, when you put out a new record, they're like, "What's the best source to where you actually get paid?" And we always say, "Well, buy the physical CD, or you can buy it on Bandcamp." So, really, the worst case scenario is streaming it. That's the most convenient way. So, yeah, I didn't. That was a little bit of information I didn't think about. I didn't think about that. So I didn't know Spotify was a Sweden company. I just never thought to like look, that far into it. So, man, really don't have a whole lot of social talk, but let's check the chat. Hey, Mr. Capone, I'm gonna need a guest spot on the cast, bro. We can have a deep conversation about this shit. I've got miles of shit to say. Okay, bro. Here. I'm gonna message you, bro. I'm gonna send you the link because I know you and I could direct to consumer. Well, hold up. Here we go. Direct to consumer is the way to go, but it's gonna take more work than buy my stuff. Exactly. I'm gonna send you. Let me send you the link. Give me 1 second, bro. So I know you and I would have a solid conversation about this stuff. So let me get back to. Okay. So give me a few seconds. Let me pull up your Facebook so I can message you. All right, I got you. Right, sending the link right now, bro. And I cannot message you. Okay, hold up. I'm just gonna send it to you in the comment. You have it set where people can't message you. All right. Okay, where are we? All right. All right, Capone, you have I respond to your comment because for some reason on your page I can't message you. Let me try again. For some reason it will not let me. Oh, there we go. That was the first time I've ever seen something like that. Okay, your main profile. Remember when we just had MySpace and we had like one platform and we kept everything so simple? Now we gotta have a bunch of shit. Okay. Yeah, give me a second. Oh. Okay. You know that you know when you always refer to your artist friends as their artist name and then you forget their real fucking government name. That happens to me a lot. Thanks for shout out to Facebook for reminding me of y'all's real names. But sometimes I have to remember. I have to go back and like, what's his real name again? So I know who to message. All right. All right, bro. I sent it to your main. Give me 5 minutes. Okay. So I got a. All right. What's babe got to say? Could join your live, babe. Babe, people live at 21st and Yale. Racers. Okay, so while we're waiting on Mr. Capone to pop on, he's just going to be my guest for the time being. Trying to keep this shit rolling. So let's talk. I know when he pops in, we're going to talk about direct to consumer, which is my favorite. In fact, I don't want to say too much because I want to save it when he gets on. But I can always, as much as I don't like to be repetitive and all that kind of stuff. So, but I even decided, I was talking to Bo Peep about this. I decided that I don't. I've decided against a merch shop just because it doesn't feel personal. It feels like, you know, if I ran some big company, like if I had a big company, like I run an eBay store, right? And there it's I'm using eBay's platform. That's how I attract the buyers and all that kind of stuff. That's totally different. But for something like music, so as an artist, And as a label, I want to have that direct to consumer relationship. So if I do a new drop, say new beanies, hats, t-shirts, I'd rather promote that via, or I'd rather promote that on the platform, on the social media platforms, on my website, and then where the fans can message me. You know what I mean? Where the fans can message me, and then they can just send me the money for the merch. I can ship it out to them personally, and so I'm handling everything, and I'm able to kind of continue to build on that relationship that I have with the fans. Um, and I know the direct to consumer doesn't necessarily go away when you're doing an online merch shop, but to me, the more personal, the better. So, and I know who's buying, and I'm able to talk to them. It's not like I get an email from, "Hey, you just made this sale," and then you ship it. I do that on eBay, but for my music career, I'd rather have that. I'd rather have that personal message, and I'd rather know who the person is and able to talk to them and network with them and have that conversation. I don't know, but that's just my personal preference, and all that. I'm a different kind of motherfucker, I guess. But yeah, it's once Mr. Capone pops in, we'll dive deep into the direct consumer. He's got a lot of he shares a lot of great music business information. And I'm not, and guys, I'm just gonna keep it real with you. I'm not used to being solo on this podcast, um, so shout out to Verizon Internet for fucking up the plan we had tonight. Also, but I will say I will give my boy some promo. So my boy ATM and my boy Blaze, he was on the podcast I think a few weeks ago. Let me pull up the information. So I'm gonna at least give him a plug because I know that was the main reason I wanted to have him on the podcast so I could plug his tour that they got coming up actually really soon. Uh, Here he is. What up, bro?
Yo, what's good? What's good? Can you hear me?
Yeah. So let me
So,
finish this plug real quick. I'm on the wrong. My boy ATM was supposed to get on, and connection issues prevented that. But I still want to plug his tour. So, guys, it's called the In Your House Tour. It's produced by 93 to Live. So it's ATM and Blade, and yeah, go check out if you don't go check out the In Your House Tour. So it's this month is actually the entire month of March. They're hitting Wichita, Marineaville, Kansas City, Omaha, St. Joseph, Minneapolis, Appleton, Chicago, and Iowa City. So if you're in one of those cities, you want to come check them out. So anyway, want to make sure I still gave my boy a plug, even though
okay.
we couldn't make it happen tonight. So, anyways, I got uh I got Mr. Capone on. How's it going, bro?
It's going, brother, man. I just, I know we tapped in with each other a while back about doing something like this,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
life be life, and
I feel you, bro. So I tapped in a little bit on the direct to consumer talk, and I know you had like a lot to talk about.
oh yeah. So it's gotten to a point where streaming has devalued music so much that fans don't even want to own the shit anymore. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like you have diehard fans that still do, but for independent artists, on most levels, it's like how many diehard fans do we really have like that though? You
Yeah,
know
that's
what
true.
I'm saying? And direct to consumer, like one T-shirt at $25, that's gonna take like what is it, 37,000 streams or 50 something thousand streams to get close to that.
Oh yeah.
And I'm not making that many streams a month right now. So I haven't been pushing my music either, but
Yeah.
and so for the vast majority, like a lot of people don't know that over like 300 million songs last year had zero streams on Spotify.
Yeah.
Zero. What the fuck is that?
Right.
and now you got UMG buying up all this independent artist real estate. You know what I'm saying? The deal with Downtown Music just finalized, which Downtown Music owns CD Baby, Song Trust, and Fuga Music, and a bunch of other companies. The reason why it took so long for that deal is because Downtown also owned financial data for UMG's competitors, so they had to sell that off.
Right.
You know, but they also just bought Even. I don't know if you heard of the platform Even.
Yeah, I've heard of it.
Yeah, UMG just bought, or not bought, but put paid for controlling stake of the company.
Yeah.
And so you got UMG out here trying to monopolize this shit, and it's leaving nowhere for us to go but back to what we were doing in the early 2000s.
See, that's where I'm at. That's where I'm at because so I haven't dropped this publicly. I've only told a few people within my team. And obviously I will drop this information when I'm ready and promote it. But like I'm finishing up a new album and the way I'm releasing it is a way there's a portion of it that I used to, like when I used to be with Muga Music, there was a way where we would push the physical before the digital. I think at least like a few weeks prior, and we would like do a pre-order, sign them. So if you bought them ahead of time, so
Yeah,
I'm going back to that as far as pre-orders for an album release, but there's a little extra, and I don't want to drop that too because I got a whole like video promotion plan, and I'm gonna wait till I have the physicals in front of me. It just looks better marketing wise. But there's a few extra that I'm doing that's very like if you're very much like a dedicated collector, like you like a little nostalgia and the idea of owning the music. But it's a way that I don't think any artist is doing now, and I don't think any artist has done it this way since like maybe 2003. So I'm kind of taking that old school approach because I'm just burnt out on album coming out, cover art. It's on the digital platforms, and then you know what I mean, and then you push the content, and then you do the same thing over and over because you see like everybody doing it, and so
yeah.
it's just kind of like you're part of this machine that just moves everything in the same direction. It's like an assembly line. It's fucking boring. And so the one of the things I thought about is you got to look at how Chance the Rapper came up. He didn't sell music. His thing was merchandise, but he had a team behind him that was doing a lot of the marketing. So, and that was his breakout, was the fact that he was kind of following where the trend was going, that music was free. Not necessarily, I wasn't really a fan of that whole process, but I understood that that was something him and his team agreed on. So here's how you can kind of stand out.
Yeah.
And so it's just having a new strategy. Kasky, what did he sell? Like $100 like mixtapes on physical CD, and it was not on no platforms or something. And they were like, it was like music you couldn't get anywhere unless you bought the CD, and it was like $100. So he was doing like $100 album mixtape, or I'm not sure what it was, but I remember he was selling it, and he, I think, sold out of all his copies.
Yeah.
So just so I think it's not just the time for direct to consumer, but it's a good time to come up with ideas that no one's doing that fits your brand, like fit your niche. You know what I mean?
And I'm glad you said that, man. Like a lot of artists out here, you got these artists out here that have these for lack of a better phrase, these dirty words that artists don't like to use: branding, marketing,
Yeah.
fucking. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
It's detrimental to their aesthetic as an artist, and I'm like, but you're already doing most of this shit anyway. You're just not calling it that, and you're not
Yeah.
doing it in a way that is converting anybody. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
It's like with, as I said, like with going back to direct to consumer, you're gonna have to do more than, hey, I do music by my stuff. And to your
Mhm.
point that you made, being creative with what you do, like we're creative. Why aren't we being creative with how we present this shit?
Yeah.
And
Right.
so I try to tell people, stop hustling streams. I'm not saying don't put your music on streaming platforms, but pay attention to the rest of that shit. Because if you're doing everything else that you're supposed to be doing as an artist, the streams will come. Because where do most people listen to music at? Streaming. And if they know you do music, but you're doing all this other stuff, to help promote your music in a different way, they're gonna go listen to it regardless. Me, I still buy CDs. Do I?
Mhm.
You know how many CDs I've bought in the past 5 years, bro? Like none of them are open, but I still bought them.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because I go and listen to the music on streaming, but I want to support because that fucking 10, 15, $20 is way more than what they're getting for someone streaming
Mhm.
their songs. So,
Oh yeah, yeah. I'm a total collector. I'm actually starting a cassette tape collection. I found some old cassette tapes from like the '90s. I forgot I had, and then
uh,
that was my goal was to get a boombox, and then just get cassette. Like I was like LL Cool J, Beastie Boys, like the music that I think sounds the best on a cassette. I already own vinyl, and there's still more. Like I have a lot. I have some jazz vinyl. But I wanted to get like a Wu-Tang on vinyl and stuff like that. So I was gonna get some like old school stuff, but then get the music that I know that like just goes hard on vinyl. And
oh yeah,
so I'm already I mean the movies, I'm already like I got Blu-rays and DVDs and then I'm actually gonna get one of those old TVs that have a VHS and I was gonna start collecting VHS tapes, like stuff that like Ninja Turtles. The first Ninja Turtles movie is perfect to watch on VHS.
oh
You know what I
yeah,
mean? And that's just me because I'm just filling out my house and I'm into nostalgia. And so there's little collections, not to mention a VHS movie VHS player. Like that's very low price. But
oh
it's
yeah.
just but also it's just kind of like hobbies. Like I want to watch the original Psycho on VHS. You know what I mean? So to me, it's just, and I feel
Um,
like a lot of people are kind of like that. They're kind of going back because now it's like,
oh,
man, we took a lot of this, we took a lot of this shit for granted.
for hella granted.
You know,
We
because now with
now,
everything being so digital, it feels fake sometimes. Feels like we
yeah.
lost a little bit of authenticity, I guess you could say.
Well, I mean, we feel like that because we're older. You know what
Right.
I'm saying? Which
Yeah.
our parents and our older, cousins and shit like that feel like that about, our age of coming up and shit like that. So I I try to look at shit as objectively as possible because I used to be one of the new rapper haters. Bad. I was bad about it. Oh, so bad. I had to
Yeah, I
realize that
remember.
they're not making music for me. You know what I'm saying? Once I allowed that thought process to
Mhm.
connect in my brain and shit like that, it's not. I don't look at it in such a negative light anymore because I know that's not for me. So y'all do what the hell y'all
Mhm.
doing over here. But some of them, whoo. Anyway, I digress on that
I
conversation.
got you. All right, so my girl Bo P popped in. The personal experience buying merch at a show or from the artist directly is the best experience.
Oh, 100%. Like
Hmm.
you, it gives the fan that connection that they didn't
Yeah.
know that they're crazy, listening to the
Hmm.
music, like wanting to get to know this person. When you're able to get it directly from that person, it's like it's otherworldly. You know what I'm saying? That's why strange music does so well
Hmm.
because for the most part, other than like outside of meet and greets, Tech doesn't go to the merch booth anymore. But
Right.
still, the other artists that are out there, if you get the VIP, you get to meet him and get it signed and shit
Hmm.
like that. And that's why a lot of these bigger independent artists, like Russell, you know what I'm saying? He still does his concerts in his backyard. You know,
Yeah.
like he sells out concerts in his backyard for his neighborhood. It's crazy.
Yeah. That's super crazy. Freitas popped in. He said also. Oh wait, no, he said something. Wait. He said it's like two messages. I'll make sure I don't get them out of order. I'm gonna put an extra song on the physical copy that is not on any streaming platforms.
Stuff like that.
Also, physical copy is a flash drive, not a CD.
All right, now I'm a little, I'm kind of a biased business person when it comes to the flash drive thing because there's a lot of people that don't want to stick a flash drive. They don't know what's on in their, their computer and shit like that. And that's a very, respectable fear because you got some nefarious fucking people out here.
Mhm.
But that's where I would set up a secret page on your website or on your SoundCloud and do NFC.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know if
I
anybody doesn't.
remember when that concept came out. I had a few artists that told me about that, and I never got into the NFT, but I never understood it.
Not
So that was
NFT,
kind of
NFC.
part of my.
No, not NFT, not NFT, NFC. It's
Oh, okay, okay, I misheard you. Okay,
yeah, no. When have you ever done tap to pay with your phone?
yes.
That's NFC.
Ah, okay, okay, I get what you're talking about.
Yeah, no, because like
That's the first time
the
I've. No, that's the first time I heard that term, and my brain automatically told me NFT. I think that shit already went away.
and, I'm still a part of the Web3 crypto space too, so
Yeah.
I still involved in that and stuff too. But as for if you set up that page on that playlist on SoundCloud or the playlist secret page on your website and stuff like that, and the only way that people can get to it is they buy, you can get it printed on it to look like your album cover and shit like that, and they tap it to their phone and boom, they're linked up to the music that.
Oh, is that the one where you can get tapped into all their social media platforms, and or am
Yeah,
I thinking of something else?
it's like that, but it's
So
for
kind of it's like a digital business card.
yeah, it's like that, but
Okay.
you set it up to lead to wherever you want it. I have NFT or NFC. You got me saying it. I have NFC tags that I use as smart business cards, but I get the tags myself and set it up through using
Okay.
my phone. I
I'm
can
just
make that tag
yeah.
take you.
I think I saw an ad on Instagram for that, so that's kind of why it's kind of ringing a bell with me now.
Yeah, there's a few companies that have come out in the past, I would say 6-7 years
Mhm.
that are actually doing really good with that. There's one that I'm gonna be using specifically because of the way that they do it. It's fucking cool as shit. So
Nice. All right.
I'll
So
I'll,
Bo Peep. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I'll send you the link to what I'm talking about when we get off here.
Okay, cool. I'll check it out. Bo Peep said we're playing Afraid Us. Love this. Brandon did this on Unholy Vibes. And yeah, that's actually something I've been doing on every album release I've done. It's been for a while. I don't think there's one I didn't do it on. So basically, like you buy the physical CD of an album, but I'd always add one or two bonus tracks. So,
Yeah.
and they were tracks you couldn't get on streaming.
Yeah. No.
You know what I mean? So, and I'm still doing that. Like in every album I've done that. So, it used to be one bonus track, and then I did two, and so there'd be two songs, and sometimes they might be like a song that like I couldn't get, songs I couldn't monetize or the beat, like couldn't monetize the beat, but it was maybe it was out of my price range or whatever, but I liked it, and so and I still wanted to put the song, so I just put it as a bonus track. But also, it's just I always like the bonus track thing. I always like the fact you got an album, and then when the album was done, there was another song, but it wasn't listed on the. And
Right.
so I always like that extraness. Now I'm not like Maynard from Tool who wants to put 2 hours of bonus tracks. It's something like that.
Oh man, that
He always,
cat is
yeah, he
man
was too extra.
character.
All right. All right.
That
What up,
man.
Mitch? What's good? Yeah. Um, so yeah, so I assume you probably saw the it's a brief. It was like a reel. I saw it on Facebook, not Facebook. It might have been on Facebook Reels, but I saw it on TikTok originally, and it was Jimmy Iovine, how he talked about they said streaming was on its last leg because
Stream.
not even record labels are even just like it's hurting their bottom line as well, which is
Yeah.
crazy to me because there's record labels who I know who actually had equity deals with the streaming services, but that was like for their signed artists. But it was also kind of giving their artists like even smaller cut.
Yeah.
And
No.
but that could be just selected. I'm not sure what labels. I know Billy Corgan said this on the Joe Rogan podcast, and I looked more into it. because that was something he was talking about. And
Yeah.
but I can see even then it's not working for them. So obviously you hurt the fucking corporation's pockets, man. They're gonna be like, hey man, we gotta change this shit.
100%. And I mean, Jimmy Iovine is not entirely wrong with what he said in that interview,
Mhm.
but the thing about it is that it's streaming as we know it because it's got to change. Like
Oh
you
yeah.
see, like UMG buying up all this independent artist real estate, pushing direct to consumer. You know what I'm saying? Like if you pay attention to the signs, you see that shit's going to be changing soon because it has to. Like there's too many of us that are becoming successful to the point to where that we're telling, like, you have so many independent artists telling labels no, they don't
Yeah.
like that, because they're supposed to be the go-to when when the label hits you up. That's an opportunity of a lifetime. Not so much anymore.
Yeah.
You got people like Russell just signed a deal after what I think was like 12 years of being hardcore independent.
Oh yeah.
You know what I'm saying? He signed a deal because he had the leverage to dictate that contract. Same with Russ when he signed his deal with
Hmm.
Columbia. He had Russ was making $800,000 a month when he signed that fucking contract. He didn't need
Yeah.
that money. He wanted to learn. You know,
Russ has such like great information and education, but like he has a lot of it like so figured out, and it's almost like you could tell like he kind of did his homework before even getting into the business side. He
oh
talked
yeah,
about he spent like a whole month on music, and that's how he was working the SoundCloud game when SoundCloud was popping. And so he would have a set so that way he had a new song like every week.
hmm
And I'm trying to think of what else. He also talked about, like he said, if young artists wanted to get a record label, he goes, well, why don't you just go to a bank and get a business loan and do the investment yourself? Because he said the interest you're paying back is going to be a lot less the interest the record label is going to charge you when it comes to
yeah.
getting their investment back.
People want to argue about how record labels there's no interest with it. I'm like, not in the traditional sense like a bank loan, but
Right, right.
because they don't understand that. Let's say, to make the numbers easy, an artist gets $1 million record contract.
Hmm.
Now, artists think you get that $1 million, you got $1 million to go do all this thing and stuff. And I'm like, first off, you're gonna have to pay back $1 million, but you yourself do not get $1 million because 300,000 plus of that's already gone on taxes.
Oh
You know
yeah.
what I'm saying? You've got lawyer fees. If you've got a manager, managers at a minimum charge 15%. 20% is industry standard, and so you got all this money that's already gone before you even get your check, and now you're running around with $350,000 to and then they go and spend it all like the record labels know they will,
Hmm.
and now they don't have all their recording budgets got to come back out of some more money that they got to borrow from the label. Their video budgets got to come out of more money that and then they also don't understand the big thing. You get paid nothing until you recoup all the money that you see these rappers and
Hmm.
rockers with. That's just money that they still have to continuously borrow from the label because they haven't recouped.
Hmm.
So
Oh yeah. And what's crazy is that, you know, these biopics that you see like on NWA and Tupac, they dive into that a little bit. Now it might be in a brief way where I think maybe the average up and coming artists who are watching these movies, and are getting inspired by seeing the come up. Like what was it? All Eyes on Me. There was the scene where Tupac told Suge Knight, "Hey, you know what? I appreciate what you did for me, but I want to start my own thing," which is very common. Every artist kind of wants to do their own thing eventually.
yeah.
And so, and then Shook, it was it was kind of funny because he's sitting there smoking a cigar and he goes, "All right, that's cool." And then he shows him his whole spreadsheet and he shows him everything. We're talking limos, hotels,
hmm
um, girls, all the stuff, music videos. And he goes, "We still ain't recouped that." and just sat down and just like left it at that, sat back and continued to smoke a cigar, and just basically saying, "I fucking own you, bro. Like you're not going anywhere."
Yeah.
You know, and you wonder how, and you just see Tupac's look. Well, the guy who played him anyway, look of like he was totally unaware of all that. So you ask like, and that was something. There was a band that talked about this, and I'm trying to remember what band it was. I want to say it was Garbage, but it was some rock band. I can't think of the name off the top of my head. So, but they did an interview talking about when they first got a record deal offer, and then they said that they paid for the hotel, pulled up at the limo, had like all this like this big lavish dinner for them, like oysters and shit like that.
Hmm.
And it just said they just treated them like royalty and stuff like that. And then when they signed, they later found out that they ended up having to pay for all of that. So there's a lot of
Oh,
those backdoor deals. To them, it just, it's kind of like it's almost it's almost like you take a girl gets taken out a date by some guy with some money, and so does all this lavish stuff, treats her like a queen, and then later you get in the relationship and he just gives her a bill. It's like, oh, by the way, you owe me for all that nice stuff I did on our first date. That's almost
yeah.
kind of like the way you look at it, almost like that's probably how it feels because you thought someone just did that of generosity because they believe in you as an artist, when really it's just like, no, we just made sure we got you in, signed the contract, and but no, we're gonna need that money back from you. So
And I mean, that's why I
it's a
push
sneaky
so hard
business.
for artists to learn as much of the business as they can, because
Yeah,
it can't hurt you to learn the business and shit like that. I
no,
don't even care if you know about marketing and branding. If you know how to register your music with all six societies that collect and distribute royalties, if you know how to register your music with the 8+ societies that collect data so you can get your credits and shit like that, and you know about your RSRCs, your RSWCs, and what does what, the ins and outs of where these royalties come from and how your music earns
yeah,
them. Because if the more you know, because I used to be a hardcore fuck signing to a label kind of person too.
I
You
was
know,
too.
now I'm like, I see the appeal for it, because if all you want to do is make music and you don't give a fuck about none of that other shit, by all means, sign to the motherfucking label, because that is the route that is going to be best for you. You know what I'm saying? Like, if that's what you pick, that's what you pick. But be aware that everything that you don't know, they're not going to tell you.
Yeah.
So it's a real big there's a real big disconnect between artists that are trying to express how important the business side is, and artists that, for lack of a better phrase, don't give a fuck.
Oh yeah. Yeah,
So
without a doubt. I do feel, I do believe that like if you that you should run your music career just you know on your own, do the best you can and learn the most you can. And then once you kind of have this leverage and you have things going well, but there's a certain direction you want to go, or there's a particular team you want, and you get connected to a record label that has that. Like they have a good track record. They have the means, they have okay, the marketing team you want, they have the PR team that you want. They have all these kind of connections and so forth. And if you've had some type of working relationship with somebody within the label, so you kind of know what kind of people you're getting involved in, and what you understand the agenda, so you're not getting you know you're not getting sidetracked, you're not getting tricked. You've already had a working relationship with them, and then they offer you a one album deal, and then you look at all the things and tie to you feel like that's gonna benefit you.
yeah,
So that's kind of how I looked, how I definitely look at that now. So it definitely has to be something beneficial, and you're not like signing all your hard work and catalog away, and
yeah.
at,
I mean,
at the end of the day you own nothing.
yeah,
So
that's what most label contracts are. We give
Mhm.
you this. We own everything that you create. We own your name. We own your brand. We own essentially we own everything that you are as a
Mhm.
creative.
Yep.
And it's because they don't have any type of leverage. Already having your business side set up and you've got all your own accounts and shit like that, that automatically gives you a certain amount of leverage. You know what I'm saying? And so if you want, like labels got hip to what Taylor Swift did,
Mhm.
waited, to re-record all of her music and shit like that because now you've got all these songs out here that sound basically the exact same as the old ones, but it's called the Taylor Swift version, you know. And so they put in contracts now that you can't do that no more. Just like with Prince when he changed his name to the symbol, or when he changed his name to the artist formerly known as Prince and was able to put music out and shit like that. Record labels got hip to that shit and started putting in the contract. Nope, you sign this as your government name.
Yeah.
And so if you at least have your business side taken care of before you get signed, you got that much more leverage than somebody who doesn't care. You
Yeah.
know,
For
you need
sure,
to
bro. For sure.
that's the worst
So,
thing you can do for your fucking rights to your music.
oh yeah, man. So I'll ask you some, okay, not personal questions, but more just about you. So, talk about Nameless Entertainment, like how that started. What was the concept behind it? Like,
So Nameless Entertainment came from me and my wife some years back wanting to start a management company. Back
yeah,
when back in like 2014, she came up with the name. Well, we kind of like skated right past that idea until around 2021. Um, I've been a fan of Venom Stay Drippin' since he was in like high school. Been
oh,
listening
nice.
to her like that, and finally got to meet her. She came to Tulsa to do the group therapy tour show with King ISO.
Yeah,
Uh,
I was. Oh, that's when you guys met. Yeah, I was on that show. That was
yeah,
a good
that was,
show. I mean, it's King ISO, so of course it's a good show. No.
we had built a connection over Facebook and stuff like that, but that was like the first time I got to meet her face to face and shit. And then so
Yeah,
we,
that was I heard her name before. I know I've been tight with Justin Strawstone from Omaha for a while, and I remember seeing her name on flyers. And
yeah,
then I think I saw one of her music videos, and then but the first time I really got to like see her, like saw her perform, and then meet her was that night and
hell
stuff
yeah,
like that. So that was actually a first, full introduction. I didn't even
hell yeah,
realize she was from Oklahoma until
yeah,
until until before that because I started doing my research on the names I was new to on the flyer, which I try to do. I try to be familiar with everyone on the show, so it's because especially since I always like to network. I kind of like to. It's kind of like you kind of at least want to know everyone, so that way when you meet them, you don't feel like you're stupid because you you don't feel like you at least have some
yeah,
information because when I approach other artists, I like to know a little something so that way I can always start the conversation with a compliment.
right,
And I know we're all used to hearing, you killed it on stage or whatever. I can be like, oh shit, you're from Oklahoma City. Oh, cool. Stuff like that. So there's always like some back information. I was like, oh, okay, cool. And then I remember, and I think I was like, I've done so many shows in Oklahoma City. How come I've never met her before? But she's in a different lane than most, in a
oh
good
yeah,
way. But that was
and
first time, yeah, I saw her live, and yeah, I was mad impressed. So, but
so we kept in contact, further in the
yeah,
relationship. Well, she ended up on another show in 2021 with J J J Rob the Problem, J Rob, one of those.
yeah, I
Um,
did a show with him once. I know J Rob.
uh, but we went to support and shit, and we were standing out there, and this was like at the like real beginning of me getting into the business side of things and learning and putting out
Mhm.
content on the business side. And she asked me and my wife to be her if we would be considered to be her managers, and we were like, kind of taken back a little bit from
Yeah.
the. So we were like, give us a couple of days, and so we talked about it for 3 or 4 days, and then we came back and we were like, let's make it happen. And
Hmm.
after we did that, we were sitting there like, well, fuck, what are we gonna call this shit? And I was like, you remember that? You remember that name that you came up with back in the day? She's like, what? I was like, nameless. You know, and it kind of just fit for what we were doing because we didn't necessarily want to, you know, be we didn't want necessarily a specific face of the company. That's why one of our taglines is "We are the nameless."
Yeah.
Because we our company is made to be any of our affiliates, any of our artists, at any given time, whatever we need to be. And so, and the tagline came from Game of Thrones with Arya Stark when she started getting that training. I forget, I think it was like season 5, and she was
Yeah.
like, "Girl, hat." So that was kind of a little nuance for that and shit like that. But
Yeah.
yeah, it
Yeah.
just kind of nameless, just kind of fit, and we built it up to, what it is now, just looking to further everything that we're doing.
Yeah. That's what's up. Um. So you weren't sure if you wanted to do management at first, or were
I
you?
was not, I was
Okay.
not. It is, I, I've heard a lot of horror stories from managers that I've followed over the years and stuff like that.
Hmm.
And it's not as bad as, their stories and stuff like that, but it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work. I put me doing music on the back burner, because I wanted to do as much as I could, get as much knowledge as I could, and take care of anything that I was able to take care of and stuff like that. And I mean, it's been crazy because it took a minute for Venom to like relinquish control and trust us, along the way and stuff like that. And so we had, I guess, kind of like therapy sessions over a virtual meeting and stuff like that because we're in Tulsa and she's all the way in Oklahoma City, and so
Yeah.
it was it was kind of a cool experience building a friendship as well as a professional relationship all at the same time. So but yeah, no, it's a lot of work, man. There's a lot of kind of like it's kind of babysitting, but I don't want it to sound negative in a way, but you have to make sure stuff is taken care of for your artists. You don't want them to have to worry about anything but getting their ass up on stage, killing it, and then probably coming to the merch booth to
Yeah.
shake hands and punch babies, or I mean kiss babies.
I feel you. Yeah, that's how that's been a lot of my efforts on Carnage Crew. Like um I couldn't tell you where I came up with the name. I know I wanted the name Crew or something because I wanted to feel like, you know, everyone felt like they were a part of something. And I
Right,
wanted the fan base and supporters, and I wanted them to feel like if they bought a Carnage Crew beanie, they felt like they were a part of it. You know what I mean?
right,
So it was almost like, and the concept that came up was like every artist that's on the label were people who I thought were extremely talented, cool people, but I always they feel like they're overlooked in a way. Like it was kind of like I felt like they all deserve to be a part of some kind of group, some kind of team, but I feel like it was like they were all like kind of like solo in a way, and
right,
you know what I mean, and so I took a lot of the information. Oh, that's the right word. I would say experience and education, what I've learned from the business, and so I took these guys and then really being a part of Carnage Crew is you get my black book. You get every contact, everybody I know. If I know a booking agency, if I know management, graphic designers, promoters, so if you're like, hey, I want to book like a mini tour or a full tour, I know a couple people who do that. So I can
right,
connect you with them. And then you guys And then when it came to the charms, that was the one thing I did like would invest in. In fact, Devil God actually helped that start. So he actually funded the first round of those. And then from then, I've been doing that, but I do emphasize on investing in yourself. So one thing I learned from being on a label, it can be kind of dangerous business when the label's kind of financially handling everything,
Yeah.
because in many ways that can the artist can kind of get used to it. It's sadly it can go down a route where it's kind of like if you raise kids and you gave them a silver spoon the day they were born, and then and they just kind of got used to that to a point where they feel like being an artist was about getting all this free shit. So there are areas that I will like invest in, but I always like give them the means. Uh it's kind of like the leading, I don't want to say it's like the leading the horse to water kind of concept. It's just more of here's here's some resources. And so if you decide, hey, I want to work with this graphic designer and redo my logo and then get all my cover arts from them, then they would use their personal finances to purchase that. But so it's very much like open for everyone to kind of invest in themselves. But they at least have like those connects and those resources. And
You
so
facilitate business to happen.
yeah. And then as far as for shows, everyone gets treated like they're a part of the crew. So whenever we do shows and then our open mics and so forth. But for me, it's kind of like you, like me and Bo Peep set it up where really the artist gets to hang out and then their tracks. That's why we always request emails for their tracks. So it's all set up. So all you have to do is get on stage, pick up the microphone and rap or sing
Yeah.
or whatever you do. And then you know what I mean? And then like I always get a case of water for all the artists. And so it's literally like set up where that's all you have to do. And if you have your merch, obviously you have your merch table to conduct,
Right.
and you're able to do your own networking with the fans you have or have made. And but as far as the whole show production, it's all like set up, and so I like to do as much where the artist just gets to concentrate and being the artist,
Yeah.
and then and for me is like I've been kind of trying to chase that again because I would love to have some type of representative or management that takes a little business off my shoulders, a little extra, you know what I mean? But
Oh yeah.
because when I was on a label, that was one of the things I got to enjoy is that's but I think there was too much free time I had. There was a lot of stupid shit I did on my free time. And now that I'm handling more business and I'm wearing several hats, it keeps me busy. So it keeps me out of doing stupid shit. And I can't be doing stupid shit when I'm about to be 45. So it's time to grow up. so so but it's but and then for me, like Bo Peep just tells me I just don't know who could outshine you as far as the dude managing this. And I was like, I don't really want that position to be replaced. It's more of like having an additional person, like
Right.
you know what I mean? And I mean, I have a select few of people, depending on availability, who can kind of run the merch table on some of our busier shows. So
Right.
I'm not having to do that and do everything else. But to me, I'm just kind of be more patient because I feel like okay, I think within time you'll meet someone who said, hey, I there's things I can offer because Carnes Crew I want to build it and have it at least like a label slash production company. Right now I have the roster of artists, but I feel like a lot of people who start a crew or label, that's all they have. They just have a roster of rappers.
Right.
And then there's no business. It's just there's nobody with marketing plans and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
now I've given myself a little bit of credit that I've been able to provide more than probably your average rap crew starting that's calling themselves a record label. But there's always the goal that I'm trying to build towards. So and that just comes within time. I think a lot of it is someone reaches out to you to say like, "Hey, do you guys want someone to do your PR for you? I have, these here's my, I have this experience, I have these contacts. I think I can do well for you guys and stuff like that. So I've since developed the patience to know that building the team on the business side, will come within time.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean?
And,
So, because a lot of times when you're reaching out, when you're trying to go out there and find someone, you tend to pick, make brash decisions, and I've been on teams where that's happened before, and then or anyone who when you get people around you and they want to be a part of this cool thing you have going on, you can get the wrong people. You
yeah.
know what I mean? So it's very, very, very sense. Very, it can, it's very easily happen. So, and I've built this thing like very slow. I told all the artists, I said, just let you know, man, the process will be very slow because I want to make sure it's all in baby steps. Um, Simply because I want every move that's made to be the proper one. Has been thought about. It's been strategized. We're not rushing into it. And when things, when I was with Mugen, like things happened really fast. I think when we did the Bone Thugs and Harmony show at Kane's Ballroom was just like from then on, it was like a rocket went off. Because then this happened and that happened, and yeah, you'll be told by a lot of people in the industry way more than you and I have done. They'll tell you when it happens quick. And I
Oh
think
yeah.
many of us didn't stop to just analyze. And then obviously then you got your haters coming through, and then you know how you react to that. I now just don't react at all. I don't even respond to hate comments. I respond to fan love comments all day long. I'll actually ignore like I didn't read it. Just so because back then, a lot of the negativity we got, I was guilty of responding and giving it too much attention and too much energy. And I think that really, I look back on it, and I think that really plagued our minds, mine specifically, and some of the guys. And but the thing about it is that hate is so much louder than love. And so even though you're used to getting all these people like showing you tons of love, the second you get hate, it just overshadows it in a way. So
Yeah.
I've kind of so it's been a learning process, but yeah, that's kind of why I like to kind of move slow so that way everything strategically is being planned, and rushing just never works out too well. You know what I
It
mean?
does. I mean,
So
like I get like, when I started the Nameless Faces Collective, um, I would like I've always wanted to start a collective, but I just didn't know how, with who, and the the group that I started with,
mhm.
like we had already been traveling out of state to go perform, with each other. We did this venue uh, during South by Southwest in 2024. And then we went all the way to Minnesota. We booked Venom got booked for a headlining show in Minnesota, and so
Oh
we
yeah, I
all
saw that. Yeah,
yeah we
hell
all
yeah.
and that's when I was like, like we all work well together. We stay in a close quarters and don't really get on each other's nerves like that. I was like,
Yeah.
let's start it. Let's all work together, and so it was me, Venom, Lido Senpai, Glenn Trell, uh, Kurt Brody, Sincerely Marie, and Jimmy Season. You know, and the way we decided to do it is a prerequisite to be a part of the collective is you've had to traveled out of state with with at least two or three of us to be considered to be a part of the collective. So that's a prerequisite for the Nameless Faces collective. But we all like have similar goals, but we all have our own lane that we stay in, and we come together when we need to. We have a group chat, like I'm pretty sure everybody does on Facebook,
Yeah.
and we were able to put together a back to school drive to get backpacks and shoes and school supplies and stuff in the first year of the collective. Nameless Birthday Bash. That was another thing. Most of everybody that's in the collective was performed at the first Nameless Birthday Bash before a collective was even thought of.
Yeah.
So with everybody there, we're also working on starting a nonprofit, community action through music and stuff like that. And just like you, we're going slow about it because we don't want to rush into anything that none of us, or at least some of us, don't have, the proper knowledge to even start doing it. So,
Nice. All right. Shan Davis says, "Yo, family. What's up, Sean? What up, twin?" So, yeah. So, what's next on the agenda for Nameless?
um, I mean, before the country started imploding, I was going to be working on doing a 10 city tour around the regional tour, uh, two cities in 5 states, and then ending the last show in OKC into the fourth annual Nameless Birthday Bash. But I'm still having to figure out if it's even plausible to do that, or should I just plan for the birthday bash, because
Yeah.
I don't want nothing to happen out on the road.
Right.
You know, crazy as shit's been going right now. I don't want
I feel you.
any of us caught up in anything that we don't need to be in. So,
Right.
but yeah, there's Nameless Birthday Bash will be more than likely in July in OKC. Right now, I've been kind of focusing on Capone, and indie knowledge. I've got me and my wife are about to do a couples podcast called Late Night Foodie Call, which is a part of Nameless Productions. Um, I'm working on 3 EPs, um, black, white, and red EPs, which will transition into a 26-track album.
Nice.
Uh, yeah, I mean, indie knowledge. I've got a publication on a Substack called Indie Artist Digest, where I'm posting articles about the music business, about branding, um,
Mhm.
marketing, tools and resources that are online to help artists with all of this stuff. And it, it's slow going too, but I'm digging how I'm doing it. I'm about to actually switch up the format a little bit, and so because I want
Mhm.
it to be more of a magazine style, but
Yeah.
me having to do all of that, plus the articles, plus uploading, plus trying to do this and stuff like that. I have to simplify stuff because I'm a person who will fill my plate up and then not know where to start.
Yeah. I'm the same way. Everything's got to be simplified. It gets too complex, man. I get too stressed out.
Because
Then I'm so.
I'm a big dreamer and I expand on shit very quickly.
That's what's up.
So,
Yeah, we need to at some point when our schedules align, we should look into Nameless and Carnage Crew like collab event.
oh
We'll
no,
just put both our rosters on and have fun with it.
dude, we might have to turn that into a festival. Start in the daytime.
Yeah.
Figure out a good day and a good place to. Because I mean, how
Mhm.
many artists?
I always have to check. I think at least I want to say 8. I'm not good
Eight.
at counting off the top of my head, so it's like I have to go through the let me see. Okay, tell you what, I'll do it this way. So and I'll include Bo Peep because she's the DJ, but she's also a part of it, and then she's also contributes to the business side as well. So you got DJ Bo Peep, Sagan, Hairborn, Devil God, Thrax, Buried Inside of Us, and Creature.
And
So
yeah,
7. So it'd be 8 including me.
yeah. Okay, so that's
So, but if we're talking about just like the actual like artist, you know, um, So yeah, it'd be 7 including me. So,
So
and
yeah,
I told myself I'd stop at that for the time being. I get I can't tell you I get artists asking me, I think on the weekly, it's like a week never goes by that someone doesn't ask me how to get on and all that kind of stuff, and I always have to put the brakes because I was like, okay, I because of I'm selective, because I guess um, like I like the fact that everybody has their own style, and I want to expand on that, but I don't want to go too crazy. I don't want to wake up one morning and I have 20 artists, you know.
yeah,
So because my thing was my not was but is my thing is it has to be it has to be an artist that I feel like it makes sense. You know what I mean? It's not a
right,
random decision. It's not a rando. But for me, it's just like I want to make sure that it's an artist that my efforts and my resources can work for, because I don't want to feel like yeah, they get the representation, they get you know like everything that I'm doing, all my contacts, everything like that gets shared. When they want to do a single or album release, I'm helping with coming up with marketing ideas and you know what I mean, and then just ideas in general. Like always, like I've like we have our group chat as well, and I always ask do you guys have any goals for this month? And you know, within reason, nothing too crazy. Not like, oh, I need to be famous by March 31st. I need to be rich and famous by then. I was like, okay, I don't know how to help you there. But like I said, is there a single you're trying to release? Do you want to set up? Do you want to set up a tour? Do you want to set up do you want to just have some out of state gigs set up for Friday and Saturday for the net for let's say for a month span, or at least a couple weekends together, like stuff like that, you know.
yeah,
So just ideas that you guys have, like, are you wanting to get on podcast interviews? Are you so I like to ask them, like, do you guys have any goal set, or what's something you would like to try happen? And so if it's something that I can help with, I'm able to go like, okay, well, I know this person, that person, or it's something I can kind of help, and I could have a one on one and all that. So just hoping everyone try to get to where they're going to. You know what I mean? So that's so um I guess there's no other way to put it. I feel like I kind of but and I don't and I know merchandise is a big thing, and yeah, pretty much like I'd say yeah, I think yeah, I'd say the vast majority of the guys on there have their own merch. But I'm also trying to work within other, because we're looking for a new embroidery shop. And so once we find the right one, I'm going to share that with the guys. So if they can do hats, beanies, ski masks, and stuff like that, they know where to go. But yeah, yeah, helping artists you believe in, like be able to reach the goals they have, and and it's cool. Also, like I don't take a percentage. Um, So like I don't own any of their shit. I don't own their music. I don't own their merch. Like they keep all of that. And then even if I set up their album or their single up for, because all the guys can, do it themselves. But I always say, hey, if you're trying to release this, and let's just say your work schedule and everything, family schedule is crazy, like I can use some of my free time to do it for you. But
right,
and I can put it on, the platform I have. However, when the money starts coming in, I will screenshot you what you made, and I'll cash app you that money. Like I don't take a
yeah,
penny. And so, I mean, it's streaming. I mean, there's like, well, there's not even a penny to take. I'm just kidding. But I just do that, just just to be of service, and just because even then, like, there's a lot of times we get busy and there's things that we need to do. There's times I forget to register my stuff for a show, and I'm sitting here like, dude, you should have fucking done that. And then you know, so
you
there's so
uh,
there's things like that. That so I tried to kind of be that assistant in those fields. So also website, I'm behind on updating my website, so I have to make notes to remind myself, hey, get your website updated.
Yeah,
Get your bands in town dates updated, and
it's
update
like
your link tree and stuff like that. So there's things I'm not perfect. I fall behind on, but once I find the time to get it done, it gets done. So, but it's always in the notes of what to do this week. So,
it's a lot. It's a lot
yeah.
for fucking independent artists, man. Because I was sitting and trying to think of how can we streamline registering our music and shit. And of
Mhm.
course, I'm not opposed to using you know Google Gemini or Chat GPT to
Oh yeah,
think over ideas and shit like that. Like
yeah.
it's a
There's nothing
good
wrong with
sound,
that.
and it was it can be done. Like having a single dashboard where you record all your music or register all your music, but it's gonna take a lot of infrastructure. And I'm like, well, fuck that idea. Shit, I don't have the money nor the capacity to even worry
Yeah,
about that. I'll continue to do this shit manually.
yeah. I got but another thing, like, because I kept telling myself, man, I need to utilize that, and I need to learn more. I need to do more research on publishing because I know, like, just like everything else in the industry, it moves quick. So there's probably new information, new technology within there that I need to be up on. But then, when I get a check from ASCAP, um, which I did like, what was it like August of last year? It's a good reminder that, hey, you're on top of most things.
Right.
You know what I mean? So when you get even though that spans over years, it shows you how little that money is too. But it's a good reminder that you're not that far behind. If you're
Right.
still getting that ass cap or that BMI check. So
Oh yeah. I mean, I try to express like the registering the music because it is
mhm.
money that you're leaving on the table if you don't
Yeah,
register.
it is.
You know what I'm saying? And I hear so many times, oh, I'll worry about it when something blows up and this and that. I'm like, yeah, but see, the thing about that is if it blows up and you're not registered, you still not going to see any of that money for 10 to 18 months after you register. As opposed if you're
Yeah,
registering now, it'll be on that what is it, quarterly schedule every 3 months. Because if something does blow up and all you're getting is streaming money, you kind of missing a lot of bread. you know
yeah,
so I try to express that it is important. It is as important. If this is a career, I have to express that so many times because I get attacked by these fucking purist hobbyists all the fucking time. It's not about the business, it's not about the money. Well, it is for me, and I'm obviously not talking to you, dipshit.
yeah.
But
Yeah. I'm with you on that. I always kind of got annoyed about um and yeah, it can be very much like a purist mindset. And for me, like, I have my purist side too. Like, I'm a big artsy guy, and I love hip
yeah,
hop culture. I love punk culture, and I can name several other genres too of the culture I do love. But I got I can I find a certain schedule in which I do music for the art, and that's what I'm focused on. And then I have my other days where I'm focused just on the business. I realized I had to separate both because they're two different mindsets. So when you're thinking to business, you're not making the best music because you feel like
yeah,
you're not really being you. And I fell down that hole for a little bit, and once I kind of got out of that and went back to how I used to operate, I started to be more excited about making music because I was saving the bit. So like, all right, let's work on the art. Let's make what's passionate to me. And then when that's done, then we pick another day. Then we think about the marketing. Then we think about how, you know what I mean. So I had to split my two brains in half, so that way I didn't get too colluded and so forth. So, but yeah, the little purist mindset of, hey, I'm not worried about the business side. Oh, no, no, no. I just make the music. But but some of these guys talk from both sides of their mouth because they expect to get money at the same time.
Yeah.
They
Oh
think because
yeah.
they went on stage and performed that they should get money, and you're like, okay, bro, but there's like three people here. Where do you think that money's going to come from?
Yeah. We're just supposed to pull fucking $150 out of thin fucking air.
Yeah. So there's like they kind of forget about where when it comes to live performances where the money comes from and stuff like that. It doesn't just you don't just get it because you're good. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So if you're that good, then you think there would probably be a crowd here. Therefore, the venue and the promoter would have made money, and you would have been able to negotiate what you would get paid because you knew how many people that you could guarantee would be there.
Yeah.
You know,
I'm
stuff
like,
like that. So
I try to
that's the
tell artists, I'm like,
misconception.
if you're expecting to get paid for a show,
Hmm.
you did minimal promotion.
Yeah.
You didn't you brought 5 people and 3 of them live with you. You know what I'm saying? Like, what the fuck? And no merch. That irks me to my fucking core. Like, you expected to get paid and you didn't bring any merch, especially if you paid to play.
Yeah.
It's just
Yeah.
it's tragic,
I've
man.
been I've been preaching the merch thing for God knows how long. It's been cool to see. It's been cool to see artists in the city who like I see them next. You know, they're plopping T-shirts on a table, and I'm like,
Yeah.
all right, you
Like,
know,
even
and
if you only got 5 fucking shirts, bring them fucking
mhm,
shirts.
yeah,
Like, you know, I
like
stay
come on,
repping my shit all day.
all right, yeah, yeah. I've been real. I've been big on merch, and I've told people, I've told artists, just like I told them like start off with that. I've told bands that too, which I see a lot more bands with merch nowadays. But I always told them that like invest in the merch, and if you kill it and you blow people away, impress them at least, you have a good chance of selling that, and then you can take that, reinvest it, and then eventually you're probably going to make enough where you can give yourself like a decent salary.
Yeah.
Just don't so don't do what I did when I was younger, and then I make $100 at the merch table and I go spend at the bar. Instead of
Hey,
just like, hey, I
man.
had my own money on me. If I wanted a few drinks to celebrate a successful night, do that. But I'll
We're
never.
all guilty of that, man.
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, you gotta celebrate a little. I mean, there's times when I'll go spend a couple shirt sales on the following dinner and stuff like that. Just,
Oh yeah.
but but make sure it's a small percentage of what you're making. So, that's a big notion. I'll never forget the day that I just decided, hey, that I took the spreadsheet route, and it was a 4-day run. I did two. I can't remember who was the headliner, but it was two tours. It was two dates on a tour I did with Nice Enough, and then we did. I had Roach Spliff with
Uh,
me, and then
Otis
we did
Julius.
on what
Otis Julius.
wasn't that one? It was Cryptic Wisdom. Yeah, he doesn't. Yeah, he doesn't like talking about that.
Yeah.
Cryptic Wisdom was. I won't say any further. Yeah, it didn't end too well. Let's just say that. Um, so anyway, on the positive note, yeah, I did two dates with them, and then we were in trying to think of the name. It wasn't Kuwita. Um, Bo Peep, if you're still watching, help me out. She helps me out in this town. Anyway, it was a 4th of July themed. It wasn't on 4th of July, but it was like the week before, something like that. And then it was at a park in this very small town. It was like Riff Raff, Mike Jones was on it. There were a few other big names on it. But that whole weekend I looked at all the merch I'd sold. And then I was just like, I need to start so I need to do a better job of tracking this. And so I would track the money I had, but this is when I got more specific, especially when I was on the road. And then I logged everything that I was making, because I realized I used to just treat the money music like street money instead of business wise. So I got real serious. So I took that seriously starting that week. I just logged everything. I logged the gas and the hotels and everything. And then I looked at like how much fucking money I made just in merch alone. It was fuck man, I think it was like 700 maybe. That just in a few shows.
Yeah, I mean, having
Yeah.
that ledger
Yeah.
like makes the business side that
Mhm.
much more real, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I
Because
remember there was I can't remember. I think they're called the Icebreakers. They were a promotional team in Oklahoma City, and they would invite me to just to do their shows. And you know what I mean? And they were just I think they were doing like free shows. There was really I don't recall there was really any money made. I think it was just they were just trying to get the build kind of the scene together and get Oklahoma City's hip hop scene kind of back and connected. So I'd come and do that, and they had good crowds. And you know, I went out there and I did those for free, and then I would do about 1 to 200 merch every show. So it would cover my hotel, it would cover my gas, and then I'd have a little left over.
Yeah.
And so yeah, merch has been it's been a savior for me more times than I can count. So
oh yeah, and I mean if you're doing enough shows, like because I mean anybody that does an abundance of shows and sells merch knows that you can do 2 shows in a row and not sell shit, but then that next show, you know, you damn near sell out.
Yeah.
You know, but it's one of those things. It's a numbers thing. The more shows you do, the more chances you have to sell merch. So
Yeah. Okay, Cushing. I knew she would remind me. Oh yeah, Cushing, Oklahoma. I remember that because that's where one of our big oil and gas hubs is. Yeah, that's where I was Cushing. I felt bad for that town though because um you could tell it's one of those really like small towns that they don't get live music there.
yeah,
You know, and they appreciated the fuck out of it. Like like I sold a couple merch items before I even went on, and they just liked the design. Then when I got off, it was like more sales and all that. I think out of all the shows, I think I did more merch sales there. And there was some controversy. I think like the talent buyer of that night, because it was all ages. He was worried about profanity and all this stuff. Like there were some artists who got the mic cut because he thought he, because of some words. And I'm sitting here like, why would you book a hip hop show if you're worried about profanity? And
yeah. Especially a
it was
hip hop
just
show
wild.
where you
They
didn't.
pulled Riff Raff off stage because he said he was cussing too much.
Oh no!
I was like, this is the wildest shit I've ever seen. And then there was some older guy, boomer age or whatever, and I could hear him just talking shit. He was like, "There's kids here. You can't be doing all this cussing." And apparently, he called the cops. So police showed up, and the police were on our side.
Yeah.
They're just standing there, and one cop was just like, it was like, so we got called. What did we get called for? Because he wants to deny you guys your First Amendment rights. Like, just let him perform. Like, if this is the other cop, they were like, it was just like, well, we're not gonna like shut. They basically disagreed with it. They're like, if these parents if they're offended, they can just take their kids home.
That part.
It's just I think this is you guys are not breaking any laws. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Whatever. Like there is, and yeah, they were cool as shit. And then and the other officer was saying like, hey, my favorite group is NWA, so which I thought was hilariously ironic. And he goes, I mean, there's there's more important stuff that we could. They hung around just so the case there wasn't any problems, you know what I mean? Because they didn't have any security there. So they're kind of like, hey, they hung out a little bit, but they're just kind of like, we got called for this. So yeah, they had
Jimmy want to have a fucking attitude problem.
yeah. They were just, but when I say I felt bad for him is because on the Facebook event page, they were commenting and asking, "Hey, could you guys at least bring Had Enough and Patch Flowers and Roach back?" Because we all performed there. Like they wanted to see us again, and you know what I mean. And then I found out some other people I knew who performed there about a couple months later, and then something I can't remember who it was. It was some local made a basically ruined the show for them. I can't remember what the story was. I wasn't there, so I don't know the full story. But it was just more of it sucks because there's just some towns that you can't have this because someone has to ruin it or someone's not used to it, and then they
Oh
try to
yeah.
utilize what authority they have, and then they fuck it up for everybody. And a lot of these small town people like that. This is what they want, and a lot of up and coming independent artists, they have a potential to really come up in a lot of these small towns. I mean, there's towns that I built quite the good name there because I came there a few times, and they can't always afford to drive to Tulsa to see Tech Nine or to see or see Twisted or what have you, and so forth. So for them to have and you're not going to get those kind of tours. They if they're coming to Oklahoma, they're coming to Oklahoma City or Tulsa.
Yeah.
Rarity
I,
you won't probably
I
even
mean,
see them in
unless
Atlanta,
you got the
you know?
money to book them. Like if you got the money
Right.
to book them, they'll do the damn show. I know they will.
Oh yeah, yeah. Yeah, for
But
sure.
I'm not fixing to pay 10, 20 racks for
Yeah.
a whole fucking town of 17 people.
Right? Yeah.
Now if
Let's
I know
see.
for sure that 150, 200 people want to see it, then we might be able to make something happen. But
For
yeah,
sure.
I'm
Yeah.
like me personally, I would go do a lot of because I'm from a small town, bro. I'm from
Yeah, yeah.
fucking Shakota, Oklahoma.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I moved up here back in '06. Damn, 20 fucking years. Woo.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel you.
But yeah, no, so like we didn't get to see shit like that. You always had to go to Muskogee or Tulsa, OKC to see shit. So, like I wouldn't mind setting up a small town tour.
Mhm.
It had to be the right small town because I don't want to end up, in like fucking Henrietta or some shit like that.
Yeah.
Somewhere I know the general population isn't going to like the particular style of music that I would be coming with. We'll say it like that.
Yeah, I get you. Yeah, it depends. I've done shows in those towns, and yeah, I've gotten pushback from some of the locals. I remember one time I played, what was it? Medill. It was this really small, like country town, and it was me, Alan Doyle, and then a few artists. They're not really doing music anymore, so they're not going to be any names of pop. But oh yeah, they were bitching the whole night, and then I think on my third song I had some song with metal vocals, and they're all like, "Fuck this!" They were like, "Oh, we're done." And then a local cop pulled up, and they all like eight of them came up to him and just demanded he pulled me off stage, and he did. He came up. He said, "Hey, man, I'm sorry, but locals are want And then I could hear them. They were just. I mean, we're talking about a bunch of small town country folks, so they weren't with the hippity hoppy, and they were not with the headbang shit. And then,
Yeah, buddy.
but he said to me, he goes, "Hey, man, I apologize, but locals when they asked me to utilize my authority, I do. So I take it he didn't even break no laws, but they asked me to, and I said it's all good, man. I ain't mad at you." And then he said, I will tell you, bro, it took some balls for you to come into this town to this bar and do this." I was like, well, a local promoter offered me money, and so it's a new town, so I gave it a shot. Um, and then and uh and then the bar owner bragged about how he refunded everyone's door money, but the promoter still gave us money because we still drove a ways.
Right.
We had a fun after party though. we had a they had one of those like bunk bedrooms next door to the bar, and so we went there, and I think we got up the next morning. I was like, all right, let's get the fuck out of here. Just like so, but that doesn't happen very often. I've actually been quite impressed to see what type of folks, so to speak, can get into like our type of music. So yeah, there's some towns they're a lot more open minded and progressive than you would probably expect. So I've been surprised and impressed by some of that. College towns are always a lot of fun,
Oh yeah.
especially when you. One thing I learned about college bars is or college, towns, venues in college towns, is just try to find the part of the campus corner that majority of the college kids are going to be around. You want that built-in crowd. Yeah, you know what I mean. So, but yeah, yeah. As far as towns like that, I don't know. I guess that's all I can really put there. Yeah, yeah. Watch out for the yeah. Try to stay away from the sticks or the real. They won't even have you in. They wouldn't have you anyway.
Oh yeah.
So,
Don't
but
if you do rap music or any kind of popular music that is not country or rock, stay your ass out of redneck towns.
yeah. Here I got another comment from Mr. Fireball. Hi, beautiful people, Mr. Face. You guys should go to OKC June 19th to 20th for Jason official HorrorCon with being my girl. Yeah, HorrorCon. Yeah, for sure. I love HorrorCon. I haven't been to one in a while, so
Never been.
they're fun. Hi, Amy and Adam Young. Bo Pete says
But
hi, Mr.
I'm gonna have to get off
Fireball.
here. We
Oh, well,
definitely
you
should
got a shout
link up
out.
and do this again.
Oh yeah, for sure. Bo Pip says hi to you, Capone, Savage Capone. Hell yeah.
All right, y'all. I'm out.
All right, man. You have a good night. Appreciate you.
No problem, bro.
All right. All right. I didn't think the podcast was gonna last that long. So, man. All right, man. Well, appreciate you guys for tuning in. That's all I got. So I'm gonna get back to my other work. You guys have a good night.